afternoon of December 16th, 2004, a tourist from the Czech Republic named Lenka Mirzolkova was sunning herself at West Beach in Adelaide in Australia. All of a sudden, something cutting through the water about 30 meters or 100 feet offshore caught her attention. She took this photo of what she was looking at. Now, she thought it was the dorsal fin of a huge dolphin, but had she known what she was truly seeing, she probably would have raised some sort of alarm. About 15 minutes after she snapped that picture, 4 teenage boys who were about 300 to 400 meters off the beach were taking turns towing each other on a surfboard behind their small motorboat. They were 18-year-old Nick Peterson and 16-year-olds Adam Floriani, Andrew Tomlin, and Ty Wheeler. Andrew was being towed on the surfboard first until he called to the other 3 boys who were on the boat and he told them his turn was over. So they stopped the boat and Andrew swam back to the boat. When he did, Nick Peterson jumped in the water to take his turn. And as he did so, Ty Wheeler was looking over the side of the boat at Nick. And Ty says that as soon as Nick hit the water, this enormous black shadow started to rapidly rise to the surface directly underneath Nick. Now, initially, Ty thought that maybe it was a dolphin, but he quickly realized that it was much, much too big to be a dolphin. But before Ty could even yell out to Nick to warn him, the enormous head of a 5-meter or 16-foot-long great white shark came breaching up above the surface of the water, and then kind of sideways, it bit down onto Nick. It had him so that Nick's entire left arm was in its mouth, and then its jaws were kind of going over his left shoulder and across his chest like this. Now, Nick immediately began to scream and fight with the shark on the surface. He was using his free arm, his right arm, to punch the shark in the eye, but this was not deterring the shark. And then, to the boys' horror, the shark began to push Nick on the surface of the water in a tight circle around the boat. And of course, the water is frothing up all around the shark and Nick, and it's just saturated in blood. And Nick is screaming at his friends to please help him. A couple of the boys picked up some oars that were on the boat, and they're trying to beat the shark off of Nick, but this was not doing anything to the shark. Eventually, Nick screamed at the other boys to please throw him the surfboard. He probably thought if he could get his hands on that surfboard, which of course is a flotation device, maybe that would prevent him from being dragged underneath the surface of the water. But as soon as Nick asked for that board, the shark did drag him below the surface. Now, it was just under the surface of the water, so the boys could clearly see still Nick in the shark's mouth. The shark swam directly under the boat, and then when the boys saw the shark emerge on the other side of the boat with Nick still in its mouth under the water, they saw the shark release Nick and then quickly bite back down on him, getting a better grip, this time fully around his torso. And then the shark bit down, shook its head, and tore Nick completely in half. At this point, that shark swam away with Nick's upper half. When the boys say a second shark between 4 and 5 meters long, so maybe 14, 15 feet long, came up and grabbed Nick's legs and swam away with his legs. So 2 great white sharks. Now, authorities would later dispute these claims and say that great white sharks don't really hunt like that, but great white sharks have been known to hunt in pairs before, and the boys were the ones that were there and saw it with their own eyes, and they distinctly said there were 2 sharks. The boys made it back to shore in their boat, where they began to yell at everybody, telling them to get out of the water because sharks had just taken their friend. They contacted authorities, but after 2 days of searching, all authorities ever found were 2 pieces of Nick's lungs.